to another edition of the Patriotic Podcast.
Yeah, I'm Ryan G. This is Danny O.
You.
We're a couple of fisters. I can't believe we haven't made some double fisting jokes yet. I was thinking about that the other day because Fawn was like, I can't believe I have two fisters on my board. And I was like, be prepared for double fisting jokes all
She
day.
knows, like, between hearing elbows deep or like just random fist jokes that have been, passed down from generation to generation. And it's pretty awesome to just kind of have that in common with you. I really think that's cool because not a lot of people know, I suppose everyone back home thinks, oh yeah, everyone in the military blows stuff up. I even had a guy at the VFW one day. We were filming a thing over there, and it was for Black Rifle Coffee Memorial Day video I was in. So we filmed it here, and we went over to the VFW, and this guy was like, "Oh, what'd you do?" Or this lady asked me what I did in the Army, and I was like, "Oh," because I had my fist cut on I was riding my motorcycle, and she was like, "Oh, what's a fist?" And I was like, "Oh, I was a fister." She's like, "What is that?" I was like, "Oh, I blew stuff up." And this guy's like, "This is VFW. Everybody blew stuff up." And I was like, "Oh, that's where you're wrong." Yeah. We let you throw a grenade in basic training, and then we just sit back and watch the show, bud.
This reminded me, I don't know, Pinterest fucking sucks. But
Look at that.
some things really, truly never change, dude.
No.
That's one of my favorite memes of all time.
Yeah, nor should they.
Like seeing those two dudes up top.
Dude, okay, so I will say this. Sometimes, because, guys get bored. And it like idle hands or whatever. So we had a guy, Stanek, I think his name is. Stanek. Yeah. He put on a man dress. It might have even been Halloween. I can't remember. But then he had his buddies like chase him around and act like he was fucking on the loose. So like other people would like join in to go help him. And then he's like, "Yeah, we're just playing Native American." It's like, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
Well, someone actually got hurt because we had these low hanging wires over there. There was like our internet shit, like the cat cord or whatever. So this guy like fucking, it clotheslined him and he got fucked up.
Oh shit.
So they got Article 15 for it. Yeah. Like when keeping it real goes wrong.
Yeah.
Like pranks were funny. It was funny as shit because we saw him doing it. I was like, bro, he's going to get fucking shot was what I thought. I was like, someone's going to shoot his ass.
Where were you guys?
We're at Rustamaya, fought Rustamaya in Iraq.
That's a problem. It's not a great place to do
Everybody's
that.
got a gun. Everybody's got a weapon.
Doing that at home is one thing, dude.
Yeah.
Over there is a little bit different.
Yeah, he acted like he was a detainee that got out on the loose. And like, I think they were yelling that. I think that's what they were like, "Oh, help us get this detainee." Like, well, shoot that motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine if that happened?
We do some dumb shit though.
Yeah. That we do.
Which is kind of like, I think that was a lot of the fun that I had in the military.
Yeah.
A lot of the dumb shit.
Well, I always say that like 75 to 90% of my career in the military was spent standing in line.
Yeah, a lot of that.
It really was. For chow hall, to turn my weapon in.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
I will say this. So the couple funny things, like you never know what the day is going to bring. But one day when we were in Iraq, these guys brought out, we were in Bradleys, and they brought out a Bradley so it's a Bradley fighting vehicle. And essentially, for those of you at home who don't know what this is, it's like a tank. Yeah, you'll pull it up. So it's like a tank, right? And it shits out infantrymen. So you have a crew, a driver, a gunner, and a track commander, right? Your TC. And then in the back, it has these benches and it has infantrymen in there. Yeah, so it has a 25 millimeter cannon in the front. That's a tow missile on the side over there. And super cool. The little rubber things up there, smoke grenades. And so super cool vehicle.
Do these have reactive armor too?
Yeah.
That shit is cool.
So in the beginning, we didn't have that. And then they like, hey, we got the reactive armor. So essentially, for those of you at home, when the enemy shoots hit you with an IED or whatever, and specifically where we're at EFP, it would hit that and blow it out. So instead of it coming into the vehicle and killing everyone, that shit would save your life. Well, the lieutenant, so he was the unit we were in, the infantry guys brought out a Bradley that was fucked up. For whatever reason, the electrical system would shut down. And so it would short out the turret. Well, that's a problem. That's how you fight. So they brought it out. We're like, that's not going to work. We're going to need, so they wanted to switch us vehicles. Well, our vehicle worked fine. So theirs shuts down immediately. Like after that, we ended up having to tow it. So we're going to go hook it up with these D-rings and shit up front. It was a mess. But when we go to do it, it comes back on. Lieutenant's like, hey, he's going to get back in the vehicle. So the driver and the gunner were talking on the CVC. And he said, hey, Lieutenant's come back in. He's like, all right, go ahead and... I think that's all he said was Lieutenant's come back in. So the gunner thought, I need to go to 12 o'clock. So the cannon has to be facing at 12 o'clock so you can come in the turret door from the inside. Mm. The driver assumed that he was coming in the back to do that. So he drops the ramp in the back. And then he said, who is that? And the gunner goes, who? He goes, someone just walked up top. So he steps up on the side and walked over on the top, on the outside. Well, the gunner thought he needed to go to 12 o'clock so he could climb in the back. So he, what we call fast slew. So he hit a button and he spins that gun around and he knocked the lieutenant right off that fucking Bradley.
Oh, shit.
And he's like fucking dying cockroach in the middle of the fucking, on the ground.
Yeah, those things are not short.
No. So I think I want to say it's like 9 feet or something like that up there where he's standing, and then it knocked him off. And he was, you're wearing all your gear and shit, and he wasn't expecting it. So first it hits him, boom, and then it just knocks him clean up. And I'm on the other Bradley. I just got back up there, and I'm like, oh. I couldn't even call them and be like, hey, you guys just hit the LT on the ground. And he's like, where is he? Who was that? And he's like, there's no one up here. And then finally I took off my CVC. I was like, hey, Lieutenant's down there. And he starts crawling and getting up. Oh, it was a mess. So that was pretty funny. Well, at least for me anyways. It wasn't funny for the LT, but yeah.
Yeah, I watched a dude drop a 777 round on his foot once.
Oh.
And that was brutal.
Yeah. That'll break your foot.
Yeah. That reminded me of this story. when I was going through FA Bullock, we were doing PT one day. And we were doing, how, I don't remember if it's like some sort of part of a cert or something, but like there's a couple of things that you have to be able to do. And one of them is like loading 12 rounds in under 5 minutes or whatever it was. Right. Yeah. And so we're practicing that with dummy rounds, but we're in PTs. And there's this, there's this trailer of like the steel things that you put over your shoes so you don't crush your foot.
Yeah.
And our commander, that same dude that I told you about that refused to cuss, like he'd be like, "What the frick, gentlemen?" Yeah. Such a goober. But he's not wearing the little things because he's not participating. He's a captain. He's just supervising,
Watching.
And this older dude walks over, like salty motherfucker, and he walks over to our captain. He's like, "Hey, where are your shoe covers?" And he's like looking at his blue PT belt because that's how you could tell like cadre. He was kind of like, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this older guy goes, "You know who I am?" And he goes, "Should I know who you are?" It was a post commander. Oh. He got fucked up for that.
Yeah, you should know who he is.
Yeah.
They put his picture and shit up in the fucking hallway, bud.
Yeah, dude, they came into our classroom like.
That was at Fort Sill?
Yeah. Later that day, they came into the classroom and they just stood in the back. Everybody wheeled around and we were just seeing these guys. It's like him, Sergeant Major, and like they're just standing there. And and our captain just shuts up. He just stops what he's saying about our gunnery class. And he gives like a 3-minute apology and like how we as officers are responsible for leading by example and all this other shit. Yeah. And then he walked, and then the general just nodded, turned around and walked out. And I was just like, oh my God. To happen in front of, so like as a leader, let me ask you this. As a leader, put yourself in that general's shoes. Are you doing that in front of his entire gunnery class? Because I guarantee you, myself included, we kind of thought that he was like, now don't get me wrong, I respect him a lot. He's a great teacher, but like, I just called him a goober. I don't know if I would have ever called him a goober if I didn't witness him just get totally pants in front of our whole gunnery class. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was such a weird thing because I was thinking at the time, as I was sitting in that course, I was like, really like this morning was embarrassing enough because that already happened in front of all of us. But then he just like, our captain was getting up and he just put his hand on the back of his head and said, "Not yet, motherfucker."
Yeah.
And
that's a good point. Cause when you said, everything that happened earlier, meaning you guys are there practicing and all that took place with you guys there. So no,
I didn't agree with that at all. Yeah. That's to me a very offline thing.
Yep. Come out here.
Yeah.
Young officer. Let's talk.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to school you because you never know who you're talking to. You should in some instances, and in that one.
Yeah, there's pictures of the guy on the wall. Like all the directives come from him. It's like, come on.
He is someone you should know.
Yeah.
But you got to know who the post commander is. But, like let's say it was his adjutant or like, some staff officer that worked for him. No. So should you treat them any differently? No. I'll never forget. I remember my sergeant major, he didn't care what your rank was or any of that crap. If you were screwed up, he was going to tell you because he is a command sergeant major and that was his gig, right? So he's like, I uphold the standard. All right, cool. So for me, that meant don't be fucked up around him. Make sure you got your shit, tight. And there was this colonel, ended up being a full bird, and he was a brigade commander. So he'd wear like some sort of like personal shorts. They were civilian civvy clothes with the PT shirt. And so the sergeant major saw him doing it. He's like, I've seen this dude do this like 3 times. I'll be right back. We're running a formation, right? And he gets out of formation, goes over, and he's just jogging. And then he's like, hey, how you doing? Who are you? And he was like, who are you? And he's like, well, I'm Command Sergeant Major Benedict. Right over here, Davardi, Command Sergeant Major. Who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm Colonel so-and-so. And he's like, so then I saw him salute. And he's like, yeah. So I don't know if you know, but those are unauthorized PT shorts. And, it's kind of setting a bad example, sir, for the guys. They think they can do whatever they want. He's like, oh, they don't think that. And he's like, well, we have a standard. And we got to make sure we keep that standard. And that colonel came back out there again. Like a couple days later, he's wearing them again. Sergeant Major goes up there. He's like, salutes him. Hey, sir. You just didn't listen or what? Like you don't care what I said? The Sergeant Major didn't go rat that guy out. But it didn't take very long before he was wearing Army PT shorts.
Yeah.
Because the CG saw him and shoot his ass. And I think it was our brigade commander, because he was the brigade sergeant major, told him, hey, that guy you've been fucking with down there? And he's like, I ain't been fucking with him. I told him he was wearing unauthorized shorts. And he's like, yeah, well, the fucking CG sent an email out to brigade commanders telling them that we better have our shit the same as every fucking private E1 who's, we expect to do the right thing. You got to do the right thing. So if it's a moment where you can teach everyone, good. But everyone saw what happened. Yeah. So it was unnecessary in that instance.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, you didn't need it.
Yeah, it was strange.
Just tell him to get his shit together.
Why don't, our rank is on literally everything but our PTs. Why? Put it on your belt.
Yeah, so that's what we had to do on our belt. In the beginning, it was a pin-on rank. You would push it through. And then it had to say sergeant, staff sergeant, sergeant first class, and then your last name. And then we even had different color ones.
I've seen a couple of places that do different colors, but they mostly did like levels. Like, so if you were a field grade officer, you wouldn't know if you were talking to a major or colonel, you know what I mean?
Right.
But like, so like they wore blue, I think. And then, the lower grade officers wore like orange and then enlisted like just all wore yellow.
Yeah.
So it was like, they didn't really care about the ranks.
So I had, instead of the belt, we had like a vest. It was like a Velcro.
Yeah.
Right. And so we had like a little name tape on those sewed on, and it had to say Sergeant O'Neill.
I mean, it makes sense.
It does. It just, specifically where you have such a structured organization that's based on rank, it's probably a good idea to let them know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Especially because you're supposed to salute and all that shit.
Yeah, that's more or less what I'm talking about, like knowing who to salute. And
they didn't think that through, I don't think.
I remember one other time, dude. It's like one of the most cringeworthy moments that I've ever like seen somebody have in the Army. But I was just in ROTC at the time. It wasn't even real Army. But we got this this field grade that he was an AG guy, but he took himself very seriously, and he walked in and this one cadet dude just like kind of panicked and like he wanted to be the first to call the room, and he said attention on deck, dude. Like he just panicked and was like attention on deck. And this captain, he just kept he was a captain at the time, so he just kept walking until he's right in front of this dude, and he just right faces and looks at him, and he gets about like as close as I am to this mic, and he goes, "Yeah, we're not on a fucking boat."
Yeah,
and just turned and kept walking down the hallway, and all of us just we didn't shut up about that for months.
No.
I felt bad for the dude who did it.
Well, it's pretty fucking funny. So, again, for those of you at home who don't know the difference, in the Army, we don't have decks like they got in the fucking Navy, the deck of their boat or whatever. We ain't got none of that shit.
Yeah.
So, we don't ever say attention on deck. We just say, whatever the unit, battalion, company, whoever, attention. Yeah, no big deal. But attention on deck, and you're in the Army, we're going to make fun of you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Forever.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
I got to say, though, that's probably one of my favorite parts of the military was that there was always something to laugh at, someone to joke about. And even though many people call it bullying, sometimes it pushed people to change some things or get better or laugh at themselves and not take themselves so seriously like the AG guy, Well,
dude, it's like, I mean, there's a pretty decent argument for fat shaming works.
Yeah, I just saw. So, Mark Bell is like a world renowned. He was a huge power lifter back in the day, and he's like the war on carbs guy. And he's right here in West Sac, right? So he just says, "Oh yeah, be less fat." Like he was talking about, I think like Bert Kreischer, one of them.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Yeah, I would just tell Bert because he's." He eats like shit. He drinks too much. He's fucking, be less fat. Like you got to make some good choices here. Yeah, you're not going to eat a salad every fucking meal. So be less fat, bro.
I have to show you this video.
And it works. Like here's the thing. If you're not pushing yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, at least at some points, but specifically physically, what good are you? What are you going to, like if shit goes down, right? Just like Cypress Hill, when shit goes down, you better be ready. There's a lot of people who aren't ready. And if things got bad, they'd get fucked up and killed very quickly. Well, I'm 40. I fucking exercise. I'm hurting. My body doesn't always feel great. So what? All right. This has got, oh yeah. See, loves to booze. Dude, it's Barstool Sports. It's going to be good.
So the way that he talks about drinking, he loves drinking, dude. You believe him.
You love to drink.
I do.
You booze till you snooze.
Dude, let me tell you something. I will never quit drinking. I will never quit drinking. I will always make sure that I can keep my body healthy enough so that I can always drink. I love seeing a sunrise with a cocktail.
The edit is great, dude.
With a cocktail, having friends walk into your house with a bottle of wine, getting on a plane. Can I get you something? Double Jack on the rocks. Lots of rocks. I love the moment someone says, hey, we should get a drink. And you're not supposed to. That feeling. It's like a first kiss. You don't get that first
It's like
kiss
a first kiss, he said.
You get to have those first drinks. At a brunch, someone goes, should we do mimosas? And then the waiter goes, actually, we have bottomless mimosas. And you're like, this is going to be the best day ever.
Dude, you just hyped me the fuck up. Hyped me up, bro. That was like a locker room speech.
That really was like a locker room speech. It's so great, dude.
About how I'm never going to stop drinking. Oh, Bert. He is pretty oh, dude. So speaking of like comedians and shit, Andrew Schultz's Infamous is going fucking absolute bonkers right now. And I love it.
Is it out?
Yeah. It's only going to be out for like 10 more days.
Yeah. So you heard the story about that, right?
He bought the rights back from Netflix. And I don't know why. I don't remember why.
Dude, so So a little bit for those who don't know Andrew Schultz, he's a New York comic, and he's ridiculously hilarious.
And he murders people in the audience.
Yeah.
Like,
His crowd work
and
his crowd work is also, it's still friendly.
So you know why?
It's still
why it
friendly
is?
banter. The person can laugh with him. They're not.
Yeah.
He's not just like, look at this ugly mother. You know what I mean? Like he actually will like make thoughtful jokes. Like he's just that quick on his feet.
He's very culturally aware.
Yeah.
So he clearly is well traveled. Or being from New York, it's the fucking melting pot. So you get people from fucking literally everywhere. And he mentioned, he's like, oh, where are you from? Or where, and that's like one of the things he's going to give you some fucking, some cultural bias stuff that makes the rest of us laugh, because despite the fact that everyone calls you racist or whatever, the rest of us laugh at these things. And we don't really care.
Yeah. He'll find like a biracial couple in the crowd where like, one chick is very clearly from like Russia or something.
Yeah.
And he'll just look at the husband and be like, yeah, how much you pay for her?
Yeah.
And it's like, but
what's the website, bro?
Yeah, they've probably gotten that before from their friends who are that close enough to where they can joke with them like that. Like, dude, my friend Jen, shout out Jen Lee, and Jordan Sexton, whose brother's first name is Gunner, and his bio or his Instagram handle is Gunsex. So I've never met this dude, but his Instagram handle is Gunsex, and that's hilarious. Shout out Gunner Sexton. But
that's how you get follows. His shit's about to blow up.
Yeah.
I'm about to go follow him. I wasn't even following him.
Yeah, right. Gunsex, pretty easy to remember.
Yeah.
But like, dude, we like our banter when we're at like dinner or something, like you just cannot say in public.
Yeah.
So everybody has friends like that.
Yeah.
I hope at least.
You should.
Yeah, you should. You really should.
Yeah.
And Schultz somehow picks up on that when he's doing his crowd work. Like he's able to say things that like are hilarious, but won't make somebody feel like absolute dog shit in the crowd.
Dude, I watched some of the small clips that they have from it.
Yeah. So dude,
anyways. Yeah,
so the reason he bought it back. So he built his entire thing on YouTube. Like his entire following is he's 100% self-made. He's only posted his stuff to his YouTube channel and his Instagram. When during the pandemic, he started doing like these almost like they were like, it was like machine gun comedy, dude. Every second and a half, there was a ridiculous punchline, and it was just him sitting in front of a camera, and like there would be like memes flashing up beside him and shit. So he hired a media team. He literally invented when you're watching a vertical story and he wants you to watch it horizontal.
Yeah,
he invented the turn your phone thing, and the video would turn. Like he literally created that.
So when those were the first videos that I'd ever saw on Instagram that said he would give the intro, a couple seconds.
Yeah.
All right, turn your phone.
And he'd be like, yeah, go ahead and turn your phone. And
over.
his editing team. So he hired this fire content team. Yeah. He was literally the first dude to do that.
That's how long I've been watching him. I've been watching him for a long time.
Yeah.
He's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I came upon him on the Joe Rogan podcast several years ago, and like kind of started, I started following him. I had never seen a special on any of the big streaming networks. So I was like, he must not be that big enough to be being courted by these streaming services yet. And like, those are the comics I like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Kevin Hart's hilarious. Don't get me wrong, but like, I've just seen everything.
Yeah. You
like,
want that underground guy who you haven't heard his stuff. It's fresh.
Right.
And it hits you where it's supposed to, makes you fucking laugh.
And like, dude, when you don't have those big, and this will come full circle, but like when you don't have the responsibility of those big streaming services, you can get away with saying way, way edgier shit.
So he said that I don't answer to them. I answer to the audience. Like they let me know. They give me my feedback, not the fucking numbers or whatever from these people.
Right.
And
so they wanted him to cut a whole bunch of shit. And I guess he said on a recent interview or podcast that I saw, it apparently was like trans stuff.
Yeah.
And Netflix had just gotten absolutely
from Dave Chappelle
dragged online because of Dave Chappelle. And so they didn't want it. And like, and he was like, fuck it, I'll just buy it back. And he said that he put his whole life savings into buying that thing back.
Wow.
So he was like, there's a great video that he shot a couple of weeks ago on Instagram. And he was like, it was very sincere. Like it was him breaking that he had done this.
Yeah.
And he's like, I really need this to work. He's like, if this doesn't work, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. But like, he's like, you will enjoy this show.
They said that this is going to change comedy, because if guys can just put the shit out on their own and don't need the streaming service, they make all the money and fuck Netflix and everyone else.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think it's like $15 or whatever. It's not very expensive.
No.
And then he's giving you like $15 to gamble with. So I'm going to go put it on some parlay. And,
What was he? He was making a point that like Netflix is in trouble, and like that's definitely reflected in their stock price and subscriber count. Like I've been following that. They're like really shitting the bed.
That's why they're trying to, you can't share your password anymore. They're going to get any new fucking customers.
Such bullshit, dude.
Oh yeah, everybody knows it.
But he was saying like no matter how successful this is, even if I put out this special on Netflix still, he was like it's YouTube is king. He's like YouTube is going to he legitimately thinks it's going to push out TikTok because of YouTube Shorts. It's basically the same thing, and you don't have to build a whole brand new following, and so like you're taking the hardest step out.
Yeah,
and there's far more YouTube users, but like he was just saying, he's like YouTube, it's Google.
It is.
They're fucking kings of data.
Bro, it's the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah, nobody has the leverage that they do in terms of personal data. And so like it doesn't matter what the fuck Netflix algorithms say.
No, dude, if you want to learn how to change your brakes, fucking do origami, fucking become a tattoo artist, learn how to play guitar. Doesn't really matter. You can go look on there. Yeah. Become a digital art master.
Yeah.
Fuck college.
Dude, I learned as far as what I use today in my everyday like work life, almost all of it's from YouTube.
Yeah.
I didn't learn shit in college, especially at Sac State, dude. I learned way more at Butte College. Shout out Butte College, because they had teachers from Chico State, and they would just teach at the community college down the street for pennies on the dollar. And we had classes that were a quarter the sizes of the ones at Chico. So we got way more help. Yeah. And I came up to Sac State, and I was just like, what the fuck? So I'm paying how much for this class? And then I have to spend $600 on a book that this teacher wrote. And then when I finally get it, if I'm spending $600, I'm expecting like a nice fucking book. And it was literally bound in the print shop at Sac State with like the shitty acrylic. Yep. It's ridiculous, dude.
And then you get to sell it for fucking $50.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, what, did you print this out yourself? College is a scam, dude.
Yeah. Well, listen, there's a lot of, I feel, hypocrisy in the government as it is, right? Because I suppose this is a good segue into what I want to talk about, but you just see them do the whole, good for me, not for you, or selective participants in some of the shit they write. College is designed initially to educate you and prepare you to be a leader in the, whatever world or, field you're going to go into. And it was supposed to be a step up from just, a high school education. And that way you could be, a senior executive or someone who helps take the company in a good direction and maybe do some things that weren't thought of before, whatever. But now it's just such a money. Everything's about money, right? It's a fucking waste. When you graduate, you owe so much money. And then you don't have any money. We have inflation. And our government says, hey, just buy an electric car. Spend more on your electric bill. Don't worry about it. Forget it if they shut your electricity off because we have high winds and we're in California and you can't go to work because your car didn't charge. I don't know how this shit's going to work.
Dude, there are some states that allow. So I was just reading like a Reddit post the other day. This dude was like asking for financial advice. He doesn't know what the fuck to do right now because he graduated from law school, but his law school or the state, I don't know which, but I believe it's the school, will not allow him to sit for the bar until he pays back a significant portion of his student loans. And he's like, well, I would if I could be a fucking attorney.
Yeah.
So they won't let him sit for the bar. He owes like $72,000 or something left. And they want him to pay that shit down like by at least half.
Yeah.
Before he sits for the bar. How insane is that?
Well, that's pretty freaking dumb. So this is, I'll tell you how insane it is. Let me hit my weed pen while I do this. just heard that the Biden administration is going to put pressure on Russia to release Brittney Griner, the female WNBA star.
Literal star.
Yeah, star who is
Who
incarcerated.
Who would you combine or compare her to in the NBA, like on a stardom level?
Oh, she's definitely like LeBron. Bro.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's the only answer.
yeah. She's the one over there.
And she's been locked up in Russia since when?
Like February, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Weed is federally illegal in the United States. And I have no idea how many, but a plethora of folks incarcerated in this country for weed. Now in my state, it's legal. However, in Russia, it fucking ain't. And guess what I'm not doing? I'm not going to Russia and taking my weed pen with me. I'm just not.
Yeah.
So I don't want her, like, I'm not saying we shouldn't do things to help Americans who are incarcerated abroad or whatever. But if they screw up.
That's a pretty big fuck up.
Yeah. She knew what she was doing because she plays basketball there every year.
Well, and like my thing is too is there is a big uproar, obviously, across the nation about our government not doing more to get her back. And
they blame inequality in pay, by the way, for her even playing over there.
Well, and like, you know what? If WNBA players were play like NBA players are, she wouldn't be playing ball in Russia.
People would watch.
But like, that's true also. But like, if I did that, there wouldn't be any uproar. And like and like, even if my story went viral, dude, like I'm not the world's best women's basketball player. So yep. I don't know. It's kind of weird that we prioritize stardom as much as we do and celebrity.
Well, it's to me, it's ridiculous. And for me, that's the hypocrisy that I'm talking about, because like you said, so if it was me, no one would care.
Yeah.
Right.
No one
gives a shit.
Fuck,
you got to
dude.
serve your fucking time.
Yeah.
Right? You broke the fucking law. You got to do what you got to do. So here we have, like you said, a star, an actual superstar, and she breaks the law. We have people here who are incarcerated in our own country, who've been there for years and years and years, and they're still there.
Yep.
But we want to bring this lady home because she plays ball. I don't give a fuck if you play basketball. That doesn't help my community. Why do I care?
Yeah.
So anyways, I just thought that was funny that, maybe President Biden could make the marijuana rescheduled here, and or just decriminalized.
So the thing that sucks about that is that once something is Schedule 1, you can't reduce its schedule by law. So like you would essentially have to completely repeal the entire law. There's
well, they fucking should.
I think it's here. I'm gonna give you this book if it's not here. It's called Hidden War, and it's written by a California Fish and Wildlife warden, and he signed up. I don't see it here, but I'll bring it into you.
All right.
But it's written by a fish and game warden who got into the Department of Fish and Wildlife, as they call it now in California.
Yeah.
And God, I just realized, is that a woke thing? They don't want to call game because it implies killing it. That's weird. Maybe that's why they changed it. But as of lately, it's the Department of
Fish and Wildlife. Yeah, it is.
CDFW. But so this warden got into that trade because he loves wildlife and grew up going outdoors, and he just felt it would be a really fun way to be a law enforcement officer, which I have to agree. If I was going to force to be an LEO, I know that there's only one guy told me that there's only 200 game wardens in the state of California. I might have gotten that from that book.
Yeah.
But they each are responsible for like 600 square miles. It's like impossible.
Yeah.
So, but sick job nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure.
But he found out quickly that like most of his career was spent like either discovering, arresting the people, of course, but then cleaning up these illegal grow sites in the California wilderness. And he said that like he's like, they're almost all cartel, and they are like ballsy enough to they'll grow on like BLM land, federal land and all this shit. And what they do is they will divert full streams for irrigation. That like there was a species, like a strain of trout that just got completely wiped out because these guys diverted a stream.
Yeah.
And then they use carbofuran, which is like this, it looks like Pepto-Bismol, but it's like this horrific pesticide. Like it kills everything, dude. And like bears would be eating it and dying.
Oh, fuck.
Like they would just completely wipe out all the flora and fauna in this entire area. And then they would leave like all this trash and plastic and shit.
Yeah.
And he spent his whole career like duking it out with these guys, getting in shootouts and shit. It's a wild book. It's a crazy book. I'll bring it in. I'll bring it to you. It's also, it has one of the sickest, once you take the book cover off, like the book sleeve.
Yeah.
It's just black fabric, and then it has like a big ass green foil pot leaf. It's just a sweet looking book.
So what are you reading right now? Are you reading a book right now?
Yeah, it's funny because I shot a video earlier this week to do like my weekly market update or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that the ones that I inject a little humor into do way better. And so like I like to slip in a little hot take here and there.
Yeah.
And I compared the world we're living in right now to 1984.
No, I remember that.
And
that made me laugh. I was like, for sure.
Yeah, I got to fucking read that book again. So 1984 and Brave New World, they're both in that room. Those are like my two favorite fiction books. I probably only read 3 fiction books a year. The rest I read like this kind of shit.
Yeah.
But I like a good story though. Like I don't like self-help books, but like this is a biography on JP Morgan. This dude
That's good.
He was a motherfucker.
Oh, I think you had to be.
Yeah, he had like 5 wives, dude.
Yeah, and I think he was specifically because, I mean, he had to dominate, so he had to do a lot of probably foul shit to step on people.
Yeah.
So I'm reading. Go ahead.
84. Yeah, 1984 is what I'm reading right now, and then I'm gonna read Brave New World right after it, because what I like about those is they're both dystopian novels, but they're opposite ends of the spectrum. Like 1984. Blocks information. Brave New World is like a just constant bombardment of information. One of them bans, sex. The other one encourages sex. Yeah. One family, no family. And so like they're dead opposite. And it's scary enough to compare our world to one of those things. But when you realize that you fall right in the fucking middle of the Venn diagram of 1984 and Brave New World, it's a little weird, dude. And then you sprinkle in Congress with like Animal Farm and shit. It's bad. What are you reading?
We're going to come back to Congress and Animal Farm here in a second. But I'm reading right now, I Heard You Paint Houses. And so this is the book that's based... that the movie The Irishman is based on.
No shit.
Yeah, so it's a mob book. And
I just watched The Irishman last week.
Dude.
Fantastic. I'm on a huge mob movie kick right now.
Yeah.
I've watched like Casino, Goodfellas.
Yep. I'm a big...
Donnie Brasco.
So my dad's Irish, Italian, Sicilian. He's, like for me, it's not like I grew up like that, but he definitely let me know like there was folks in the family that definitely fucked around. And... it's always cool, but he never got into details or anything like that. But I find the shit fascinating, especially because Hollywood as a kid always made like Goodfellas and all that stuff. Like yesterday's price is not today's price. And I think that's funny. You should inject that into your shit because it's funny about our real estate. And just like you said, 84, like all these different things that are dystopian, but that are so real right now that it's definitely a little freaky. But I Heard You Paint Houses just talks about how, this guy did so much shit. When they talk about I Heard You Paint Houses, they mean they're blowing somebody's fucking head off and spraying
they're not talking
walls
about
with fucking
actually
blood.
Painting houses.
Yeah. And it was like, it was a euphemism. They're joking about this shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that one. I do read, I suppose I read like a lot of stuff on like leadership, and I read I like true crime stuff too, so I'll read some of those. Because when I was a kid, huge John Grisham fan, so I just read like tons of those. Like at an early age, I got The Client, and the Firm, and then the Pelican Brief, and I just started going through all these fucking books, right? And then I was like, man, these are dope. And then I got my hands on a couple true crime ones, and I was like, man, people are fascinating.
Yeah.
So yeah,
dude, the first like true crime book I read was The Iceman about Richard Kuklinski.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy was an absolute psychopath.
What's that movie they did? They just did that movie about him. Oh, The Iceman or whatever.
Yeah, the Iceman tapes. They recorded that, I think a long time ago on HBO.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, chilling interview, and like he sat there with the author and wrote it with him.
He's a cold piece, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, because he just became so numb to killing people.
Yeah.
Contract kill, and he's like, yeah, I'm just out walking my dog, smoking a cigarette, like fucking. He's your neighbor.
Yeah.
Well, just like the Golden State Killer guy, this guy
Dude.
fucking killed all the people. And this lady that was one of my kids' cheer coaches, her daughter was a cheerleader as well. They were his neighbor. They sold him fucking Girl Scout cookies, bro.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Dude, I remember when he got caught and I was reading the story about it. I had never been to a Hobby Lobby in my life. And we were like furnishing a new place that we moved into. And I was like, fuck it, let's just go to this Hobby Lobby. And we ended up going to the one that I think at that Hobby Lobby, he would frequent there a lot. And so like they followed him and he threw like a cup away or something. And that's how they got his DNA. But like, I remember like walking up to the door and like just opening the door thinking nothing of it. And then when he got caught, I was like, oh, dude, we touched the same fucking door handle. Like, how fucking crazy is that? That dude raped over 50 women in Northern California. And like my dad, dude, he has this, his like one of his most prized possessions is Louisville Slugger. He has like an old, like power. It's like still like they used to like still burn the woods, shit in the wood. Like it's not paint like it is today. Yeah. And like this thing is heavy as shit, and it's just an old school bat. And he got it when all that shit was happening. Wow! Because he has he has two sisters. It's like counting my aunts and uncles. Yeah, he has two sisters, dude, and like one of them is younger than him, and like he was just always freaked out that because he lived in North Highlands.
Yeah, dude. And listen, as a like a teenager or something like that. You had no idea if this dude was going to come to your house or whatever else. And he did some crazy. So I read the book, I'll Be Gone in the Dark.
Yeah, I did too.
Did you? Yeah. And
that's like one of my favorite genres, dude. That's hilarious.
Well, I told you I love true crime shit. So I read that fucking book. And at the time I had no idea that this was Patton Oswalt's wife. Yeah. And then she passed away from cancer.
Like a month before he was caught, dude.
Yeah.
Isn't that so
crazy?
Heartbreaking.
And these guys are all like online sleuths. So I've learned so much about this. Like I watched the Netflix thing. Was it Don't Fuck with Cats or whatever?
Yeah.
Listen, man, if you fuck around online, people are going to find you. All these
That
people
is a
from
crazy
January
documentary.
6th, from the insurrection, whatever, bro, listen, the people are their neighbors and shit who turned them in. They're fucking online and all that stuff. Fucking wild.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'll Be Gone in the Dark. I remember reading that. And like, dude, he was a cop in Auburn. Like, dude, he would put like plates and cups on the husband's back.
So do you know how that happened?
Like, if I fucking hear, he's like, if I fucking hear this glass move, this glass rattle, I'm going to kill your wife.
Yeah.
How terrifying is that, dude?
So they blame this cop because he said this guy's a coward. He only strikes when it's a woman alone, defenseless, and blah, blah, blah. So then he started hitting couples, and he's making the dude put fucking like a teacup on his fucking back with the plate and, stack of plates. And if you move and they rattle, I'm killing this bitch and killing you, like, holy shit. Plus, they said in many cases, he'd gotten in the house, hid in like the closet or whatever.
Before they got home.
Under the bed, and had for like a day, he knew everything.
Yeah.
That's some scary, scary shit.
Yeah. He would also like set the house up so that they would walk in and they'd just be like looking around at all their stuff, kind of like moved out of the way. Like, what the fuck? And then he just like get them from behind.
Yep.
Dude.
My favorite part though about like him and the Unabomber Okay, so the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, he's a virgin. Well, he might not be now. He might have got butt fucked in prison, but he's never had sex with a woman. And now the whole world knows. And that part I like.
Yeah.
Because it was in his little manifesto shit, right? He's very upset about how women always ignored him. And the Golden State Killer, well, he's got a little micro pee-pee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes me smile. I want to write him a letter down here in Sac. I wish I could go visit him, but I want to write him a letter and just be like, hey, I just want you to know.
He's still alive?
That I know. Yeah, he's not doing good, but he's still alive.
Where's he locked up at?
He's in Sac County.
Oh, he hasn't gone to trial yet?
I think they did. They've done hearings, but he hasn't done trial.
Wow. Damn, that's been a minute. Because he got caught right before COVID.
Yeah, and I think that's why. Because he's been super sick though. He comes in, he's looking all fucking about to die. But I don't know,
dude.
It's crazy shit here. So earlier you had mentioned Congress just for a second, and it was kind of as a joke, but Congress is a joke anyway. So, like AOC getting arrested the other day.
Yeah, holding her own hands behind her back.
Yeah. Well, that's what you got to do when you're oppressed. So you got to hold your own hands. I just saw that Nancy Pelosi's husband bought like $1 million in chip fucking.
Look at the video I'm pulling up.
See? Were you already doing that? Were you typing that in right now?
So this video that's like 3 seconds long.
Yeah.
Was on my list of shit to show you. So just watch this real quick and we'll go into it.
Fucking dirty bitch.
Your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he received from you?
No, absolutely not.
Over the course of your career, has your husband
No. Absolutely. So first of all, look at her. Jesus.
Get that mic. Bro, she's Skeletor. She'll be dead before I am. And listen, I know people hate to hear me talk badly about the speaker, but I got to tell you guys, she puts the crook in crooked. This isn't the first time that they bought stock and gotten lots and lots of money off of things that they were going to vote on in the coming days or weeks. So all I'm saying is, fuck that bitch.
So she has, I think this was a couple days ago, so it's probably even higher now. But basically, this deal with the microprocessors, right? Mm-hmm. So she takes a huge position in NVIDIA, however you say it.
Chlamydia.
Yeah, huge chlamydia position.
Yep.
But yeah, she takes this huge position and then days later endorses like a bill of some sort that would allocate, X amount of dollars to the semiconductor micro, whatever the fuck they are, dude. But basically chips. And I think she's up like $16 million in the last few days. And then she has the audacity to just go, no. And then like puts her fucking, have you seen her like weird knuckle rubbing thing?
I gotta tell you, I wish that I wish that we would just have term limits and I don't have to talk badly about our fucking elected officials. We could just move on when they fucking suck. I just don't get how like everyday ordinary people are okay with our elected officials going up there getting rich when that's not what they're supposed to be doing.
Solar panels, if you live in...
Yeah, she gets paid, what, $200,000 a year? And is worth $200 million?
She just bought some huge place down in Florida.
All right, so...
Which is funny because I thought she didn't like DeSantis.
I'm by no means endorsing Hannity or Fox News right now, but this is just the clip I can find of it. But yeah. Look at this weirdo in the background, dude. Like, where's the part where she
looks like she's got meth mouth.
Yeah, like, dude, her mouth is so dry. It's so gross. Like, look at this, dude.
Her husband's balling. I mean, he got a DUI that went away. And then now.
So watch Nancy, dude. I don't remember what he was talking about.
Neither does he.
Damn it. Where?
How about that? Oh, Yeah, I seen this one. A man who leaves thousands of guns for the Taliban gives lecture on gun control.
What is she doing?
Bro, she's like a little fly.
What is she doing?
I don't know. He's talking. What is she doing?
Why is she?
Oh my God. You know what I think? Let me tell you what I think is,
So
at
fucking
least to
weird.
me, funny, ironic, hypocritical again, about the Biden administration. Well, not necessarily about him, but about him being there. So the Democrats, and I don't care how you vote. I don't really give a shit. We shouldn't talk about that or religion, but okay. I think that we've seen a lot of politicians who don't always have their constituents' best interests at heart. But with Nancy doing the, getting rich off this shit, it should at least show people maybe we shouldn't trust all these people.
Yeah.
However, just a few short years ago, everyone's talking about how racist Donald Trump is, how oppressed colored folks are in America, and all these things, right? And I'm always a firm believer in you choose your destiny. You can make, fucking life happen if you really want to. And that doesn't mean it's going to be easy or whatever. It's always going to go your way, but we can create a pretty good life for ourselves here. So what we want to do is get rid of these rich old white fucking oppressive people being fucking, dictators or whatever and putting them in position of power. So we hire the oldest, another rich white guy to be president. Now, I don't really give a fuck what color you are. I just care that you're going to be good at your job. I think you probably got to be somewhat narcissistic to think you can run a country like America or, I don't know. But I just think that it's quite funny to me that they were like, listen, we definitely need to get rid of these rich old white dudes. But let's hire this one last one real quick and he's going to fix it. Yeah. And then we'll hire a black lesbian lady.
I always think that it just seems impossible that they're in touch with anything that the average American experiences when you're that wealthy and from these prestigious families. A lot of them have always been wealthy or, there's a lot of nepotism involved in politics, obviously. So how in touch with that's not to say that they can't be empathetic, but unless it's the whole walk a mile in my shoes argument. Or anyone's shoes for that matter. I'm pretty fortunate.
So you mean the Kennedys probably were like, yeah, maybe we should all just get electric cars. No big deal.
Yeah.
But for the average American, sorry, Mr. Buttigieg, it's not going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it's it's easy for, and look, we've gone into this before. I think it should be I had a gun at 20, 21 years old and I had no fucking business having it. Honestly, I was just not an adult yet.
Yeah.
And I didn't grow up with guns. So I'm fully self-taught until I got into the Army, which was far later.
Yeah.
So I had no business getting a gun. I honestly don't think that it would have killed me to wait until I was, 25. I had to do to rent a fucking car.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that aside, it's easy for them to be like, oh, people don't need guns. That's really, really easy to say with Secret Service parked outside of your fucking house every night. Most of them are protected by them. And the one thing that killed me, dude, Dianne Feinstein, for example, when she was it was, in 2013 or 14, right after Sandy Hook, and she was just hell bent on banning everything in California. It was crazy. And she has had a CCW since 1984.
Yeah.
And it's but she was literally in this bill, wanting to restrict CCWs even more. Yeah. So it's just it doesn't apply to them. And I think that comes with that. Obviously that kind of power comes with money. It has to.
Well, and when you said how out of touch are they? I just saw a thing that for Biden's agenda right now, his focus is on climate control shit, the whatever his Build Back Better, whatever the fuck it is. He's going to make buildings out of indestructible wind. Fucking, I don't know. However, there was a study that was conducted and it said or a survey, like 1% of people give a shit about climate control and think that's the number one issue right now. Kamala Harris is in charge of our border crisis, and it's the worst it's probably ever been. Literally thousands and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are coming, and it creates, so Texas is now shipping them to the East Coast, to DC. New York is getting them because they don't, if you're undocumented, they don't care or whatever. So they give you all the benefits and stuff. And they're like, hey, listen, we already have an overburdened homeless or shelter system. This is not helping, And so the people down where the border is in Texas, they're like, yeah, that's what we were trying to tell you, was that this many people coming over was a problem and we needed to stop it. Whether you wanted to build a wall, put fucking people there, we didn't really care. And then now that they're having to deal with all these extra people, it's like, oh yeah, maybe we shouldn't just free invite everyone in the fucking world to come here. There has to be a system. Now our system is pretty screwed up. It takes a long time to become a citizen. There's a lot of, shit that you got to do. There probably should be a lot better, more efficient way to get people in. But at the end of the day, we're not doing jack shit about it. It's going to go to the next administration, and it's just going to be more hotbed topics, just like Roe v. Wade, whether we're talking about abortion or we're talking about immigration. It's always going to be some sort of humanitarian, versus your heartless, instead of, trying to be reasonable.
Yeah, it's shitty too, because like I don't have a whole lot of faith in a third party coming around. And like I honestly despise them both.
I'm kind of a libertarian, and I thought we were gonna step it up, and it's kind of been
nil. I just think that a vast majority of people do fall in the middle and probably agree on more than they think or are willing to admit.
Yeah.
But like our leadership doesn't give a fuck about that.
Well, we talked a little bit about this before. People assume that because I definitely lean more conservative, but I'm a libertarian, right? So people may assume that, I don't know. They can assume a lot of things, I suppose. But for example, I am pro-choice. And even though I know that people who are not pro-choice, they're pretty angry. There's a lot of folks who are, hey, look, we're going to save babies. And the people, you're going to kill moms. Everyone's, they're not alive yet. People are going to find their line in the sand. But aside from those super emotional topics that are usually personal, with our reaction to them, people are much more in the middle. Yeah. And if they got off Facebook and Instagram, they'd talk to people with respect.
Just get out of the fucking echo chamber for a second.
Yeah.
It sucks, man.
Yeah.
And like you can totally tell that, well, I don't know. I don't know if more comes across my feed that pisses me off or that I agree with. Cause like I try not to give that up.
Yeah.
Like if I feel strongly about a particular issue, I'm not going to go follow 1,000 pages about it because I don't want to be like bombarded with that shit.
Yeah.
Like I can have my opinion without broadcasting it to fucking everybody.
See, I can't remember if we talked about this before, but on my 40th, one of our local folks who's running for state assembly, Josh Hoover, came by, and I love Josh, great dude, and he just came to hang out, man, say what's up. Well, I had someone there who wasn't necessarily invited, but they just showed up. I'm sure you remember.
Yeah.
And and I think she was inebriated. It looked like it, sounded like it. And she was like, I'm gonna mind fuck this guy. And I was like, what? And she's like, I'm gonna mind fuck him. And I was like, what makes you think like that's okay to say or try to do?
Yeah. What good has ever come of, like, when has that ever led to something?
Sure, you're gonna change his mind over here. Yeah. Josh was such a humble dude. Yeah. He was just like, no, it's okay, Daniel, listen. Eventually Fawn went over there and she was like, hey, that's not why he's here. Thanks. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It's like, people, you got to be tolerant. You need to be inclusive. well, if someone agrees with you and then that's cool, but if not, I'm going to mind fuck this dude. All right. I don't care. Like, I want you to have different opinions of me because I want to know why.
Yeah.
Yeah. What got you to that conclusion? It could change my perspective. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm willing to learn.
I've always been pretty willing to listen to the other side.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know, I've said it a million times, but like the stronger I feel about something, the more I look into it. Because
it's a good thing.
And I'm not, and again, like I try to look at the other side because one, if I conclude that I'm right about how I feel like it and I want to get into an argument with somebody, I want to fucking win. So I want to know what they're going to come at me with, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, like I don't do that to like own somebody, but it's just like to have a better conversation. Like I don't want somebody to just spew their fucking opinion at me all night without anything to say.
Yeah, bro. If you're just screaming and yelling, bro, upgrade your argument.
I love to play devil's advocate too. You know, that pisses some people off. Other people appreciate it though, because like they'll either say like, "I hadn't thought about that,"
yeah,
or they'll just say, "Here's why I think you're wrong," which just leads to more conversation.
That's right.
I appreciate those conversations.
That's why I love my dude Boone Cutler. So he was our PSYOPs guy in Iraq. He got evac. He helped break the story on Walter Reed and how things were bad, that they were putting guys with open wounds in moldy hallways and shit. Anyhow, he always has those conversations like on his Instagram or Facebook. Shout out Boone. But I love that he wants those conversations. And if you're disrespectful or not willing to be receptive, like he's like, listen, you don't have to agree with everyone.
Just keep it above the belt, dude.
That's it. But if you're just going to sit there and attack them and call them, oh, you're just a dumb lib or you're just a dumb fucking redneck or, you know, right-wing fucking racist. If he's like, that's not helpful to anyone.
Yeah.
So cut all that shit out, get a good argument and come in here and talk.
You know who's really good at those conversations is Brandon.
Really?
Like him and I talk about that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because I definitely don't want to get into religion, but like we are on opposite ends of that spectrum. And like, but like, he's the kind of guy who'd be like, well, you know, I'll still pray for you, bro.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right,
cool.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
You know, like I like those conversations. They're healthy to have, I think.
So sometimes I'm nervous about them only because, so I don't ever bring up religion, right? And then because it's been a bumpy road, right? However,
for a couple thousand years.
Yeah, something like that. So maybe more than a couple thousand. You know, like, so someone that we both know brought it up, and I'll tell you who after when we're done. But like, she asked me if I was religious, and she had asked a couple questions, and that was one of them, and I kind of answered those other ones and completely ignored that one because she was having a good time and she was liking where the conversation was going. But a lot of people want me to give all the credit to God for where my life is at, and I'm like, listen, I was gonna die by my own hand, and I tried. And no one stopped it. And you can say it was divine intervention, but it was Western medicine. You know, let me tell you that. And that's neither here nor there, because they can, you know, the rebuttal is always, well, that was God still.
Yeah.
So, okay. But then it's free will, right? If someone does something and it's terrible, like, well, then what about this kid getting molested as a baby, has no choice? And they're like, well, it's free will. That person had a choice to do that. And they chose it. I'm like, well, isn't that God? Control. So I go round and round. That's why I try not to get into that shit, because my personal relationship with God shit is mine. It's private. It's pretty much non-existent, but it's mine. And I don't want to know about yours. If you have one, great. If you don't, cool.
Yeah.
It's none of my business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to go fucking pray together.
It's like your 401k. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. If you got one, cool. If you don't, sweet.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's your prerogative.
Exactly.
Yeah. But people can't fucking mind their business, dude. But, you know, the one thing I will say about religion is I wish people gave a little more credit to themselves sometimes.
That's right.
Like, by the grace of God, I, you know, got this job. It's like, no, you just went to fucking college. What are you talking about?
You put in the application.
You put in
got
work.
Some skills.
Yeah. You know, you volunteered after work. You went to job fairs. You did all this shit. Like, I don't think, you know what I mean?
So another lady at an event here in town, she was like, she asked me about God as well. And I said, she was like, do you go to church? And I was like, no. She's like, oh, so you don't give God credit. And I was like, what would you like me to give him credit for?
Yeah.
He didn't pay the mortgage last month.
Yeah.
And I don't want to turn people off who are religious from our show, but that's not where I find my strength.
This is not a religious podcast.
This is not. Yeah. I'm afraid for me, it's just going to have to be blood, sweat, and tears. I'm going to have to go after it if I want it. And I went to an anger management, I would say class, but it's not. It was like a group for a little bit till I passed the class twice. Anyhow, I digress. On one of them, there was a lady who was teaching it, and she, like, part of her teaching was, and she's a very devout Catholic woman, which I thought was very interesting because she said, praying about this will not fix it. And I was like, oh yeah? She's like, listen, if you're an angry person and you're carrying around all this stuff or whatever, and your reaction is pretty typical for you to get frustrated and angry, you want to throw something, punch the wall, or cuss and scream or whatever, you can't pray that away. You have to work at this. You have to start forming new habits. And I was like, how hard is that for you to say? Because I know you want to give all the credit to God. I know you want to, give his divine power, grace, all that is the reason that you're able to do this. So how hard is it for you? She's like, well, it's true. And I said, I agree. It is. If you want to change, it has to be something you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that goes for pretty much any habit. I mean, I've lost friends to drugs and shit. And like, I tried to get people to stop, of course, but I mean, like, until they were really ready to do it, you can't force somebody to give their shit up. They have to decide themselves.
I will say though, that's what I love about being part of Warfighter Overwatch. When these guys are finally at rock bottom and they're like, because we still get people who know that the person's like rock bottom, but the individual themselves are like, I'm not going, give that shit to someone, a spot to someone who needs it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like at these treatment places or whatever. So, and then eventually they're like, hey, listen, I'm going to lose everything. My wife's getting ready to fucking leave me, dude. Or she left. I need to go to therapy. Like, all right. When they're finally ready, we got to be there to help them. And I dig that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm excited to be a part of it, dude.
Welcome to the board, man.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me.
It's going to be really cool. I can't wait to tell you like all the shit we got planned for the gala, and then just the future, how we're going to hopefully shake up a lot of stuff about, number one, how we advocate for mental health stuff for our veterans, first responders. And that is just for me as a model to help everyday average citizens, because a lot of folks deal with mental health stuff. I want them to deal with it. Despite the shit we talk on this show, I definitely want people to deal with their problems appropriately and move on.
Dude, when you said I'm a model, I immediately pictured you in like a calendar that we sell to raise money. You could be a model.
Hey, Rocco. I'm going to hit you up in a little while. We got a firefighter on our board. We have access to fire. And I know that when I was a kid, there was always these things about these firefighter fucking...
the calendars?
Yeah, the calendars. So
I'm going to go ahead and pass on that shoot, bro. We can hire that one out.
What? Bro, I need you. All right. I know who could do it.
I'll think about it.
I know who would do it for sure, because she does the boudoir photos.
Yeah, there you go.
She's an expert in this shit. Listen.
Shouldn't do a firefighter calendar. You should just do a boudoir calendar, dude. That would be even better.
Oh, man.
Sell them at the tattoo shop.
Dude, the tattoo shop is just such a special place. The people that we get in there, sometimes they bring us stuff, right? We get cool patches. We get, pictures or just random stuff. I got this stuff that's from a POW, and it was like letters home.
Whoa.
Hey, they're treating me well.
Yeah.
It was all lies.
Yeah.
Imperial Japan made him write to his family, and he was missing for a year before they told his family. So they had to validate that he was indeed a prisoner of war, not just killed in action or missing or AWOL or whatever. And then once they did, Imperial Japan was like, write these fucking letters. So then they told his family, and then they got their first letter from him like right after that.
Wow.
And so I just have this folder of shit that I'm going through. It's like, people have some crazy stuff in their basements or attics or. Yeah.
So my aunt just sold her house in Granite Bay. My aunt and uncle sold their house in Granite Bay, and they moved up to Grey Eagle, where they've been going for decades now.
I heard they got a decent golf course up there.
They've got a bunch of really nice courses up there. They're fun, dude. We should definitely do that sometime. It's a blast golfing up there.
Let's do that.
But they moved up, and they'd been living in their house in Granite Bay. It's one of the coolest houses ever, too. It broke my heart a little to see it go. But she, over several decades, they just accumulated a lot of things. And one of the things that they had was my grandfather's Foot Locker.
Yeah.
And it's full of all kinds of stuff, dude. Like, it's really cool. So she's letting me hang on to it for now until they find some room for it. And part of that is because we want to digitize everything so that we have copies of it. You know what I mean? Because like all of this stuff is original.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, I didn't get to know him very well because he passed away in I think 93 or 94. And after he got home from the war, he just, from what I've been able to gather, was kind of cold.
Yeah.
And him and my grandmother ultimately separated for a while, and he was living in Carmichael, I believe, and he just paint all the time. He's a really, really good artist. So all of my family members have paintings by him, and they're pretty incredible paintings. But he's always been into drawing. And so all the letters that he wrote home, there's a bunch of letters in this thing. They all have cool drawings on the bottom of them. And like sometimes he'd write like comic strips. And it's funny, a lot of them made fun of British people. And like, yeah, like he's pretty creative, dude. And so it's cool to be going through all that stuff. There's also like, there's a bunch of operations orders in there. There's a bunch of like award citations. They're all of his medals and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it's been, and a lot of those medals like aren't around anymore. I've never seen before. You know what I mean? So it's been fun, like Googling them and trying to figure out what the hell they are. And yeah, it's been cool.
History is fucking dope, man. And we learn so much from our soldiers, right? People who go to other countries and fight for hours, there's so much stuff there because, obviously the major wars shaped our country, who we are, who the world views us as. And obviously there's probably been some decline there.
Yeah, as of late.
Yeah. But I tell people that I still believe our country's worth fighting for, even when it's shitty. And, yeah, I'm grateful that there's still young warfighters who sign up and hopefully are learning values that will they'll pass on to their kids in the next generation. But I definitely wish that we could get our leadership, whether it be Congress, whether it be the administration, whether it be state governments. I just feel like they don't even listen to, because Nancy doing that is just your petulant child, not willing to answer why they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, right? Like, why were you eating the Oreo, Sally?
Yeah.
She's
I'm
not. Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna, like, I wonder if she gets like called in to some sort of hearing or something, has to testify before Congress. Like, I wonder what her excuse is going to be. What can she possibly say? Because her husband's literally a hedge fund manager.
He knows what he's doing. I don't meddle in his business affairs.
Like, are you serious? You really expect us to believe that? Like,
yeah.
That's so
They
insane.
want you to buy that shit.
Oh, my God.
I'm not willing.
Yeah, I'm not buying that for a second. Have you seen the website Unusual Whales?
No.
Dude, so Unusual Whales has a Congress trade tracker.
Oh.
And dude,
So I'm just going to buy what they buy, bro. Too easy.
that's what I'm saying. Like they literally have a trade tracker that's like real time. Well, it's not quite real time because they use a lot of disclosures and stuff.
Sure.
But like it does track their portfolios.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Shout out Unusual Whales, dude. That account blew up.
I love that people are, so the internet allows you to keep track of like so much shit. Like, did you see this guy who was is it Bezos or fucking Elon Musk or one of them? He was like telling everybody where his private jet was at, like where it was flying to. And he finally talked him into not doing it. He's like, I'll give you some Bitcoin if you'll fucking stop tracking my jet and telling people where I'm at. And I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, dude, they're so dirty, man. It bothers me that, like, that's how they continue to get freaking richer and richer, while the everyday average citizen struggles to pay their bills, let alone get ahead and buy stock. Are you kidding me? You can't even fucking buy a house in Cali, dude. You got to be from the Bay and 3 generations deep, and make 6 figures, and now you get a now you get to work from home so you can go buy a house down in the valley or whatever. I don't know. It's crazy.
Here's a Pelosi tracker.
Oh, this should be good.
Twitter. Oh, what the fuck, dude? Look at the Twitter bio. It literally says no, absolutely not. God damn it.
I just saw a picture of Hunter. We probably should at least mention. He deserves honorable mention, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff released from his hard drive recently.
God damn, dude.
Lots of hookers. Did we talk about that last time? Fucking like 27 grams of fucking
Yeah, he had like
crack.
27 grams of crack. So when was that video dated?
I don't know. He was shaking hands at the fucking White House last week.
So ridiculous, dude.
Bro, could you imagine? Like, oh, I'm a recovering crack addict. By the way, fuck you, Joe Biden. And he's like, he doesn't like her very much. And then she called me like a breakfast taco.
Dude, I can't the one video that I saw that was so hilarious was where it starts with Joe Biden like back in the 90s or something, saying that like if one piece of crack bigger than this nickel or whatever.
5 years, judge doesn't get a choice.
What are we talking about?
And then there's Hunter, 27. Hunter is the smartest person that I know. What? What? Sorry about that. There's so much good stuff on the internet for us to check out and look at. It's never-ending fun. But I want to remind the folks at home, sometimes just unplug that shit. Check out the people around you. Tell them you love them. Spend some time with them.
Touch grass.
Yeah, you should really do that. I'm grateful for the good stuff I get to do, man. We went and did Warfighter Overwatch, took these adaptive folks.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that.
It was really cool, man. So it's called Ability First, and they got a grant with the VA to bring veterans out there to go water skiing. Excuse me. Sorry, it's the beer. Anyhow, it's like this private lake. You just go out there, and it's made just for water skiing and shit. So, well, wakeboarding or whatever too. It is so much fun.
Were you guys on the tow ropes that were like strung across the lake? Or were you towed by a boat?
By a boat.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then you have to like go around in a circle down there at the end. And he's like, listen, if I'm worried about you, whatever, we'll just shut it down and I'll fucking throw you and you'll, just fall. So it was so much fun though. Like the first one I got pulled up immediately straight up on the skis. And it'd been a couple of years since I've water skied, but it was something that I used to love to do as a kid.
I've never water skied in my life.
Really?
No. I go on a boat every weekend. I've never water skied. I've only fished, dude. I want to try it.
I need to fish more.
We'll take you, dude.
I'll take you water skiing. The guy up there, Marty, so he's the only person to ever throw a flip in a Paralympic or para-athlete, whatever I'm not sure what they call it. Para-skier, flip in competition. Pretty sick because his legs don't work, right?
Yeah.
But he's got he's got two. So I get there and he's wearing a blue and then the red 11s, Jordan 11s. So for those at home, I happen to have on the low 11s right now. So his legs don't work. He's got two 11s and they're beat out. He wears them. And I'm like, yo, what are these? And he's like, yo, those are my kicks. What do you mean? I was like, why you got two different fucking? He's like, well, I couldn't find the other one. You know, I didn't care. I just grab him and he comes out there and he just takes them off, jumps off into the boat, and then he drives us around, man. And it was a really good time. So you got a lot of camaraderie. You got we don't get a lot of officers that come to this kind of shit. For whatever reason, you guys, you're hanging out with the enlisted folks again. We're a little more mature than we used to be.
I always got in trouble for that.
Yeah, we don't want no fraternization, but now it's okay. So a lot of guys, they think, hey, this is for the enlisted folks. It's not for me or whatever. And that's not true. But we had a guy who spent 20 years in the Navy as a pilot, and super cool dude, lives over in Reno, came out and went skiing with us. It was a lot of fun just to hang out with him and, get to chop it up. And I'm glad. So he wants to get involved as well, come hang out and, help other vets, which is the number one thing you see when we do these events. You get vets who want to help other vets. You get police officers, firefighters, first responders who want to help other first responders and say, I've been going through this. I found some tools, some things that work, and I want to help the next guy. And every time they come out and do that stuff, they were like, all right, I want to get my buddy out here. He needs this. Like, all right, well, tell him.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Dude, I was going to ask you, what's your opinion on MAPS? You heard of MAPS, multidisciplinary something rather for psychedelic substances? They've been doing a lot of testing in California.
Oh, yeah, on the shroom stuff, right?
Mushrooms and MDMA.
And MDMA, right. So I actually have a buddy who is getting some farms set up here in California, one in Oregon and one in Oklahoma. Shout out Farmer Frank's Mushrooms. Listen, he wants to do some really cool stuff at these farms. He wants to have retreats for vets to come out and learn how to grow their own shit at their house. And he does some really cool, delicious, teriyaki type, or all kinds of different flavor, but actual mushroom, shiitake stuff that you could actually, eat or whatever, normal. And then other stuff for PTSD. Yeah. And he said, first off, he was a little nervous about talking to people about it. And he said the feedback that he's gotten has been phenomenal. People want to help. They want to invest. They want to just kind of help him help other people who are going through this kind of shit. So my opinion is, if it works, do it.
Yeah.
And, when it comes, because what happens if this stuff isn't working, we have people who are suicidal and kill themselves.
Yeah.
And I've buried a lot of my buddies who committed suicide, and I don't want to do that ever again, ever. So if you found something that's working, do it. And I think that I'm definitely interested in trying and seeing if it would help some of my symptoms.
You can take part in their studies.
And I have done a lot of stuff with, my own therapy to mitigate some of my stuff, but if I still have, shit. So if this does work, if I can be a part of a study, I would definitely do it.
Yeah. I think, ketamine is also really popular too.
Yeah.
They'll mail that shit to your house now.
I was going to say, I've been hearing all kinds of stuff about how it's getting much more accessible, which is why this Griner thing is even more funny to me. Yeah. We have people in jail here in the United States for weed, and it should be accessible for every single veteran or, just people in general. Yeah. It's a plant. It's not cocaine, but you can get that in a pill form because that's that has some sort of medical use, but right. weed doesn't.
Well, that's the shitty part because cocaine is Schedule 2.
That's right.
So that's so fucked up about Schedule 1 drugs because LSD isn't part of those studies very much either because it is a Schedule 1 drug. Yep. And it has very similar effects, man.
Yeah. I'm curious
how it comes from ergot.
I'm curious how over the next, let's say, decade, so 2032, what it will look like for, number one, mental health, because we're talking about it a lot more. So do we actually see legislation? Do we see changes? Do we see access to resources? Does some of that change? Do we see a bigger shift in, I suppose, bosses or whatever, senior leaders in helping their people access mental health or making, whatever. And even more, what does that look like in 10 years? Is it going to be, here, so like they would give us what we call the combat cocktail. You get SSRI, mood stabilizer, benzodiazepine, sleep med, and they're going to drug you up.
Yeah.
Right. And that was standard. We call it the combat cocktail. When you tell them you got PTSD and shit from war, that's what they're going to give you.
Yep.
And I felt like that made me more suicidal than war did. Taking that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Benzos are gnarly.
Yeah. And, they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. They're playing with you, right? And so then they're like, oh, that doesn't work. We're going to up this one. We're going to try this. Then, all right. You're like, ugh. You're all fucked up.
Yeah. Have you seen Euphoria?
Uh-uh.
It's on, I think it's on Hulu.
Is that the one about?
It's about Oxy in this town, but it kind of shows you the pressure that those sales reps were putting on doctors and shit. And how celebrated it was, and like no wonder they were kicking back those doctors so much money, dude. It's a it's a heavy ass show.
So let me look this. This guy told me to check this thing out. That's called How to Change Your Mind.
Oh yeah, I've watched it.
Have you?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's really cool.
So they talk about MDMA.
Well, it's a like a mini series, and they have I think 4 episodes. And I think one covers MDMA, one covers LSD, one covers mushrooms, and like maybe ketamine.
Yeah,
it's mescaline, peyote.
Oh yeah.
And they're all really good.
So I'm gonna watch. I just got that sent to me. People send me all this stuff all the time. Hey, check this out. Hey, because people who have either had issues or understand that other people have issues, a lot of times they'll want to help, but they don't really know how.
Yeah.
So when they find something that they think might be helpful, I get sent a lot of stuff. Hey, see if the guys would, this works for them or whatever. I'm gonna watch that and see what it says, and then. The same thing. I always hope that we can find some sort of way to help people. But at the end of the day, the best thing is get your ass outside.
Yeah.
Go hike around on the fucking mountains for a while.
On mushrooms.
Yeah. Look for
more mushrooms.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, get outside, dude.
I when I was a kid, I lived out in Calaveras County for a little bit. And a couple years, and a lot
Where
of
at?
So I lived in Valley Springs, and I lived in San Andreas.
So Alyssa's grandparents live in West Point. You know where that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
lived there a long time.
What's their last name?
Becerra. You know that?
Becerra.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I might know a Becerra.
Her grandfather's name is Pooley. He has a long white ponytail. And then her grandmother's name is Vicky. Fantastic people.
Yeah. So Fawn's mom. So Fawn grew up in Calaveras County. Pretty much her whole life. She was born in Hollywood, but then moved out there. She's lived out there. Like I said, the majority of her life had lived out there. My wife. So she lived out in Mountain Ranch, and it's not super far from West Point and all that. You go out there, but it's a great place to go out there and do psychedelics. A lot of kids do it. So most of those kids that I grew up with, their parents were hippies.
Yeah.
Right. Which is funny because my dad's a Vietnam vet, hated hippies.
Yeah.
All of my friends' parents, most of them were, we're going to go grow pot out here in West Point or Mountain Ranch, out in the sticks. And you can't see shit out there. So they've been, they're like, I'm getting away from society. And then some of them had like, it wasn't a cult, but it was like this co-op living, like just, you never know what
like
you're
a
going to find
village,
out there.
dude.
Yeah. And I definitely enjoyed my time out there and some of the people I got to grow up with. And then there's always a famous person or two. Jake Shields was out there. He made a lot of my friends. So he was a senior my freshman year. He made several of my buddies push pennies across the gym floor, things like that. Which is funny because he was on Bully Beatdown later about bullying people and beat him up. Yeah.
That's funny, man.
Yeah.
I love going to West Point. I have a good time every time I'm out there. It's beautiful out there. Yep. The people are super nice. And I'm at Alyssa's grandparents' house, and Vicky just like feeds us very well. Yeah. It's a good time.
So you can tell Alyssa, like my mother-in-law lived off Jesus Maria for a long time. And then her house burned down in the Butte fire on 9/11 several years ago, like 7 years ago now, 7 years ago. Wow. Yeah. So then they moved in with us, and then my father-in-law had a stroke, and they found aneurysms. He passed away now, but we bought a bigger house so everyone would fit. And then she moved back up there. They got the house rebuilt, and my kids loved. That was like their favorite thing to do was go out there to Gammy and Papa's house and go run around in the woods and ride the 4-wheeler and play. Yeah, just play. No electronics. Yeah. Watch out for poison oak. Yeah. And rattlesnakes. Definitely. Other than that, get after it. And they loved it. We had a swing of doom, a bridge of doom, like all these things that, they're core memories for them.
Yeah. Dude, I'm going backpacking again in about 3 weeks. I'm stoked about it.
Where are you going?
So we're going down to the Southern Sierras, and we're going to go over Mono Pass and get up into some of those those high elevation lakes.
Yeah, the alpine lakes.
Yeah. We're going to have fun up there.
So, I just went hiking out in Yosemite.
Oh, really?
So wasn't
it just on fire?
That was right after I left.
Oh, okay.
So it was crazy. I spent 3 days hiking in Yosemite, left there, literally drove straight to Bodega Bay. My daughter turned 16, went there, spent a couple days there, came back. It was the day we came back was the night Tyler Vargas Andrews was coming home for the first time. So we did the people making posters, ribbons, the yellow ribbons all over town, interviews with tons of media, and then went down to the airport when he got there, and then the motorcade all the way back home. Like, I was tired. And then the next day, so then that night, his mom was like, hey, Tyler would like to thank you guys. You want to come over? Because they live around the corner from us. And it was late, bro. And listen, at 40, like at 10 o'clock, I'm in my bed watching TV, like deciding whether or not I can make it through another hour of TV. If not, it's going to be like a 30-minute show and we're done.
Yeah. Putting the sleep timer on and
shit.
Dude,
that's it. So it was probably like midnight. And I was like, you know what? Maybe it was like 11:30. And I was like, fuck it. I'll go say what's up real quick. So I went down there and I told Fawn, she was just coming home. So she went and met me over there. We ended up staying there till 2-something in the morning. Yeah. And then the next day we tattooed him in the tattoo shop, him and his buddies. The first time they were all together for the first time. Super cool night. But we didn't leave the tattoo shop until 2:30 in the morning or whatever. And I was like, I felt like Danny Glover, bro. I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah, right.
It was so fucking funny. And I'm like, my knees hurting from hiking. And, I'm just like, I'm tired. I'm old. I'm beat up.
And then wasn't the next day the rodeo?
Well, I had one day off. Okay. Oh, no, you're right. Yeah. So Friday, Saturday we tattooed him. And Sunday was a rodeo. And the rodeo was so much fun, though. Yeah. Like, that was really an amazing event.
Man, I had a blast.
His uncle he's a media guru, public, like PR guy. So he sent us, I don't know if you were on the thread already, but he sent us a thing and it shows the markets that our story got told in.
Oh, really?
Here, Louisiana, Florida, Arizona. There was like a ton of places, and it reached like 7 million people.
Wow. That's so cool.
He said normally this kind of media promotion, and he put how much it would cost, like $150,000 to get this kind of exposure. And I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck we're doing, bro.
Hey, dude, Folsom Rodeo is a draw.
7,000 people packed.
Yeah. Did you know that's more people than go to A's games? Isn't that crazy?
We got Jack Coke slushies, bro. They got them at the fucking A's game. I go to the A's game. They got a Jack and Coke slushie, bro.
Yeah, right.
Give me two.
Yeah, the rodeo is fun, man. I wish they did. I don't know how much they do there, but I wish they did more events there, like at the rodeo grounds. They could have a sick,
They should.
like they could have concert series there and everything.
They do. We just went to one the other night, and it was Merle Haggard's kids, but it was only like, it was literally like 30 people there, 40, 50 people.
Really?
Yeah. And I feel like they could do a much better job. But see, most people don't even know about it.
Yeah.
We only heard about it because the people who put it on said that they wanted to give some tickets to veterans and try to get some more people in the house. And so they messaged Fawn, and we're like, yeah, okay. So we gave out like to whatever, 20 tickets, 10 tickets, whatever it was.
I literally knew nothing about it.
Same.
And I saw the chamber every day, like for the past week.
Yep.
When was it?
Saturday. It was the same day we did the water ski. So then I did the water ski thing, came back, and she's like, we're going to this concert thing tonight. And I was like, sweet. I just
Yeah,
go
right.
sleep.
Yeah, we need to get more people there. Where did they set up?
They were literally like right kind of where all the stands are, pretty close, like down in the arena from there. Well, it's an arena now. It's just fence, it's chain link fence around there now. All the cattle stuff is.
Man.
So, we're going to.
They could have done that at Folsom Hotel with 30 people.
We're going to do some cool stuff with the rodeo going forward. We want to make sure that, we honor our patriots, our first responders, our veterans properly. And yeah,
I like the idea of a Veterans Night. That was fun.
It really was. And I got to tell you, like the other people who got to be a part of the ceremony, dude, they love that. So a couple of the guys were from 2-1, some of their boys.
Yeah.
And they put the flag for their boys who were killed.
Yeah.
And that was special for them. One of the guys, he asked, so the person who made it, Joe, who made those little boxes with their names, and we put their flag holders, and we put the flag in there. He said, hey man, can I have this one? This is my brother right here. And he goes, yeah. He was a Marine too. Joe is the guy who made him. And he's like, yep. So
that's cool.
Something special for him, Yeah. Dude, things are crazy. People don't realize like how much suicide has really gone up quite a bit. Like kids, it's terrible how much our adolescents are doing it. Yeah. And that's why I think it's so important. That's why I was grateful that Tyler spoke that night and he talked about like, I'm missing half my limbs and half my organs, but I still find a reason to get up and fight every day. You can't, man.
Yeah.
He's 24,
I know.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty incredible thing to be a part of for sure. I was really thankful for that. And it was it was fun as hell drinking with him after.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when you and I went down there, I told Tyler, I said, listen, I'm not going to introduce you to anyone else because I know everyone in this fucking place wants to come shake your hand and buy you a drink. So good luck with that. Yeah. However, this guy made the video. You might not have watched it because you were getting ready to talk, but you'll get a copy of it and all that. So
yeah, it was a cool experience. And how's he doing? He's doing well?
Yeah, man. He's doing great. He's back there still grinding. He's doing deadlifts and, just getting physically stronger, and he's doing a great job. He is so far ahead of
Is he at home still?
No, he's back at Walter Reed.
Back at Walter Reed.
Yeah. So actually, I got a message from my buddy Scott, and he runs this super cool organization back in DC, and he works with the Commanders, formerly the Redskins. Yeah. And so they're gonna take Tyler out he's gonna be like the honorary captain of one of the games, and gonna go out there for So the cheerleaders and stuff from the at the time they were the Washington football team, they sent us a video when he was not long after he got blown up. Scott sent that to me and I got it to Tyler. Like just things like that, dude. Tulsi Gabbard sent a video, sent that to Tyler.
I like Tulsi Gabbard.
Dude, she put out a video recently about today about Joe Biden doing the Brittney Griner. And it's just funny. It's like, hey, listen, if you have people in your own country that are in prison for weed, don't sit here and try to tell another country not to put our people in prison for weed. Fix our problems here.
That's what she said?
Well, she said that it was
in so many words.
Hypocrisy. Yeah, hypocrisy that he's willing to do this when we have people here who are in prison.
She calls it like she sees it.
She said, are you going to release all the people who are here on cannabis charges?
Wasn't that part of their campaign promises? Like, I might be wrong.
I thought he was going to eliminate corn pop and he was going to reduce the charge for Yoo-Hoo at the fucking in the machine at the school. Was it class president? We let this motherfucker in charge of the country, bro. I don't listen. This is why this is why it was like the lowest voting turnout for our, like primaries or whatever.
I think people are just exhausted, man.
They don't believe in the system anymore.
Yeah.
How can you when you got Pelosi buying millions of dollars worth of shit saying no?
No, yeah. You're just gonna fucking like, dude, she just has no problem with that shit. Doesn't see anything wrong with it. It's silly.
Yeah. They don't answer to anyone. So what the fuck do they care? Me and you do.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not running for Congress. Sorry.
Nah, bro. I'm not gonna run shit by my mouth on this show.
Yeah. I like it.
Yep.
Let's end with that, dude.
It's a great episode, man.
Yeah, this is fun.
Until next time.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.